Hey there, it's Victoria McCooey, and I want to talk about something that I'm so close to. It's one of just the most insidious forms of abuse there is in a lot of places. It shows up in a lot of different relationships, but I'm talking about when it shows up in marriage. It's called gaslighting. And I know if you're here, you've been doing research, you've been Googling, you've been binge watching YouTube videos, you've heard about this. So I want to spend this time together talking about the different forms, how it manifests, what it does to you, and some examples. And I hope we can laugh about some of them that happened in my own marriage because there was a lot of gaslighting going on in my first marriage. So let's get started. Let's jump in. Let's just talk about why it's even called gaslighting. And you probably have already seen this reference. So I will just, for those of you who haven't, there was a play, a 1938 British play about this man, and I haven't seen it. That is like a confession. I talk about this all the time. It was also made into a movie in 1940 and 44. I'm pretty sure that's right. No, I've never seen them, and it's on my list of things to do. I need to see at least one of these movies because I talk about it all the time. But it's about a man who tries to make his wife think she's going crazy, and he does. One of the ways he does it is by dimming the gas lights in their home to make her think. And when she mentions that the lights seem dimmer, he tells her that no, they don't seem dimmer to him. And so they keep getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and she thinks she's going crazy, I guess, or losing her eyesight, or I don't know, but whatever it is. And I will watch it, I promise. And you should too. So we know what we're talking about, what the real origin of this term gaslighting and where it comes from. But it's to make someone doubt their perception of reality. And so this is what so many abusers in a marriage will do to their victim. And yes, I speak in generalities because I talk about narcissists, and 75% of men, of narcissists are men, not 75% of men, but 75% of narcissists are men. So yes, I'm generalizing, but there's a reason why I feel okay about that. So I'm talking about the husband gaslighting the wife for our what we're talking about, for our purposes. So it's a way, it's a slow drip. It's an insidious, slow process that they use to diminish your self-esteem, to make you doubt your sense of reality, doubt your perception, doubt your self-worth, and think you're going crazy a lot of the time. So it's I think I'm going to start by giving you some general examples, not specific ones yet, but some general things. Like they'll say, I never said that. I never said that. You're imagining things, right? If that's not the case, if that's a lie, that is a gaslighting technique. I told you, you must have forgotten. You're forgetting things. So now you're thinking that you're losing your memory, right? Or here's another way they can gaslight you. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. Why are you making such a big deal about this? This is not a big deal. You're being too sensitive. Have you heard that? I know I did a lot of times. Yeah, because they're messing with the way you see things and making you or telling you that you should believe that your idea of what's right and wrong, your idea of what's important and what's not important, your perception of your reality is wrong. So it makes you really doubt yourself and totally diminishes your self-worth. All right, so it's a form of brainwashing, I'd say, because it's done so slowly and over time. All right, so here are some great examples, real life examples from my own marriage and from some of my clients, and I'm not going to tell you which are which so that, I don't out anybody, but these are real things that really happened in someone's life. Um, your mother doesn't love you. All right, well, we all know our mother loves us. We like to believe so. But if you hear it enough times, you start believing it. You can't help it, it seeps in. That's a gaslighting technique. Uh, a child wasn't invited to a birthday party, a class birthday party, and the father said to the mother, "It's your fault because no one likes you." So they weren't invited because the other mothers don't like you. So it's your fault. Um, all right, here's one, and it wasn't this. This one isn't in the marriage. This is in a relationship. Okay, I'm just going to tell you this was my husband. Okay, this was my first husband. There was a contractor hired to do some work on our house. He was actually a friend of ours. And when it came time to pay him, my husband told him that he couldn't, in good conscience, pay him because he hadn't actually done the job the way they talked about it. He hadn't done the work that they had discussed. And he had all the details of the conversation that they had had so in such detail, so like what the time of day and the weather and who was where and what they were wearing. Don't you remember? And I said this and you said that, and he had he had the whole story so mapped out, so in so much detail. And I remember the guy saying to me, like, he must be right because he remembers it with such detail. He's not, he can't be lying. He can't be making it up. He remembers it with such detail. I must be wrong. I must be remembering it wrong. I must be wrong. He must be right. So he would do it not just to me, but even to people that he owed money to. All right, that's a crazy one, right? Okay, here is one. Oh, okay. Again, me. When we were first dating, this was a red flag. I gave him a key to my apartment. So one day, I was out with friends and he was meeting me, and this was pre-cell phones, right? Life was a lot harder before we had cell phones, only we didn't know it. So I left a note. I was going out with my friends at the last minute and couldn't contact him because he was en route to my apartment. So I left a note inside the house, inside the apartment, to meet us at whatever place. So he was locked out. Instead of just saying, I messed up, I forgot the key, and I couldn't get in. I'm guessing, you're not there. You must probably have left a note or something. He left a million messages on my voicemail because he's like at a payphone calling my voicemail telling me that how wrong I was not to be checking my messages because I should have assumed that he would forget his key because I should have known how busy he was. And in the beginning, I started thinking, oh, I guess I should be thinking that way, or maybe other people think that way, or I missed it. So it started way back in the beginning. I remember another circumstance this is a client of mine. Her husband had lost a favorite shirt and blamed her for it, for whatever reason. I guess she did the laundry, whatever, and he couldn't find the shirt. And so then later, she started missing some of her favorite clothes, and she couldn't find them anywhere, and she's looking everywhere. And then kind of just like wrote it off, like must have gone to the dry cleaner and gotten lost, or left it somewhere, or whatever it was. Then way later, after she just dismissed this whole idea of looking for those clothes, she goes to her attic for something else, and she finds a bag that she doesn't recognize, and she opens it up. There are her clothes. And when she confronts him, he goes, yeah, how does it feel? How does it feel not to have your favorite clothes. So he let her believe that she had just lost them somehow. Um, yeah. So here's another. Um, okay. So this person had told, again, this is me, because it's too hard to pretend like it's not. Um, he had told me to meet him at a corner. We were only dating at a corner of this big intersection. And I was very unfamiliar with this area. So, and he was very familiar with it. And I was getting off a subway and I was meeting him at a certain corner, the northwest corner, whatever. And I was so careful, again, no cell phones. I was so careful to know exactly which one was the right corner, the northwest corner. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and it's half an hour, and I'm thinking he's caught in traffic, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. So now I'm starting to get nervous because I was starting to see the pattern that every time there was an agreement to a plan, let's say a plan, there was something always went wrong. When there was a plan to meet or plan to do something, something always went wrong, and it always was my fault, even if I didn't think it was, but it was always blamed on me. So I'm starting to get nervous, like, oh, here we go again. Like, he's not where he's supposed to be, but it's gonna be my fault, and I'm trying to second guess myself, like, why is this not happening? Like, what am I doing wrong? This is the northwest corner. I know he said northwest. I wrote it down. Here it is. So I start looking at all the other corners. It was a huge intersection, so I couldn't see from where I was. I had to walk to each intersection. This is in New York, it was huge, someplace deep in Queens. And I finally, on the farthest catty corner, all the way across, diagonally across, I see all the way down a street, I see his car, where I would never look, where it was never the plan. So I walk all the way down there. Now it's like an hour after we were supposed to meet. And I just know I'm going to be in trouble. I just know it's going to be my fault. And he goes, oh, you're late. Like, why are you so late? Like, not anything about why he's where he is. Just, why are you so late? I'm like, well, I've been here for an hour. Why are you not where you told me to meet you? He looks at me like I was crazy. He's like, well, you saw there was a police car there, right? On that corner? And I was like thinking, no, I didn't notice. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't something I was looking for. He's like, I go, what if there was there? So what? He's like, well, my registration's expired. I told you that my registration was expired, and you would realize that I can't go to that corner if there's a policeman there. So anyone else would have thought or realized I was going to be on the farthest corner from there. I'm like, is this me? Is this me? Am I the one who is thinking not like everyone else? Would somebody else have put all this together? And A, and B, I don't remember him telling me his registration was expired, but that was not even in question. That was a given. He had told me that. And so I immediately put it on myself, like, he must have told me and I guess I forgot. But no, I didn't forget. So yeah, this whole crazy scheme that makes you wrong. So all the time, it was always my fault. This is someone else who, they were closing on an apartment, and it was scheduled for like 2:00. And again, no cell phones, this was a long time ago. And she went out to lunch for work, went out to grab some lunch, and ended up going shopping, buying a pair of shoes, whatever. She took longer than a normal grabbing a sandwich and going back to her desk, whatever, no big deal. And so 45 minutes later, she comes back to her office, and there are 100 messages from him. And so she calls back. She's like, what were you thinking? Why in the world would you go out to lunch when you know we're about to close on this apartment this afternoon and I might need you because he had forgotten some piece of paper and he needed her to do whatever because, damage control. Needed her to look it up and online and figure it out. Her fault. Her fault for not being available when he needed her because, I don't know, but she believed it. All right. Oh, it's me again. My favorite, because this good friend of mine and I laugh about this now. Not only was I told my mother didn't love me, no one liked me. The reason any of my kids weren't invited to anything was always because I was so unlikable. It was always my fault. So I had this good friend. And they're also, on top of gaslighting, another tactic is they're trying to isolate you from getting too close to other people. That's why your mother doesn't love you, pushing you away from your family, pushing you away from your friends, because they don't want anyone to hold a mirror up and go, oh, that's not right, or that's weird, or no, you're right, he's wrong. They don't want anyone close enough to you to tell you that. So when I was getting very close to this one woman, that we were getting to be really close friends, he started in on, she doesn't like you. She's just using you to make herself feel better about herself because she's prettier and smarter and has more money and is more talented and people like her better. And now, all these years later, we're still best friends and we laugh about that. Like, no, just made up crap to try to make you feel bad about yourself and to doubt your reality. Is this person using me? Like, I perceive it as this person and I really get along. We really like each other. So my perception of reality must be messed up for me to be so misguided in this. All right, I've bared my soul. I've become pretty vulnerable here. Does any of this ring a bell with you? Do you understand gaslighting a little bit better now? I hope so. And look, you can laugh about it on the other side, right? It's crazy. They're the crazy ones, but it's their job to make you feel like you're the crazy one. Because the more off balance you are, the more insecure you feel, the more they can control you. And it's all about control. It's all about control. All right. So why do I do this? Why do I tell you all this? Why do I come on here and, show you all my dirty laundry? It's because I care about you. If you're in this position, I want you to know you're not alone. And I was there, and there are all these other women who've been in that exact same place. Lots of us, and we're smart, and we're funny, and we're accomplished. We're not just victims. It can happen. It can happen to me. It can happen to all kinds of different people from every walk of life, from every socioeconomic background. It can happen to anyone. So please don't feel like I did. Don't feel embarrassed or humiliated or ashamed, because that's how they get to continue doing what they do. Because they know you're too embarrassed or ashamed to tell anyone, to admit it. I mean, I know I was too humiliated to even tell my own family. And that's what they're counting on. That's how they get away with it. So, me too. Me too. Let's have our own little Me Too movement. We're victims. We were victims, but not anymore. Because you can move out of victim into creator. And that's what I help my clients do. That is what I feel I put on this earth, why I had to suffer through that really long abusive marriage to a very toxic personality. Because now I can help others get through it and see it for what it is. A little part of your life that you can get through and get over to the next outside of it, to the next thing. And let me help you create that next thing. That's what we do in my program. I don't just help you get through this, I help you plan simultaneously what your life is going to look like on the other side. So you hit the ground running. When this is all over, when the dust settles, you're not going, now what? Now what do I do? I'm, starting from square one. No, you're going to be on square 101 because we're going to already have everything in place for you to start growing into that next thing. All right. Does that sound good? So I hope you'll reach out if this is something that speaks to you. I'll put notes. I'll put links in the notes where you can schedule a free call. That's the first step. So we can talk, and I can figure out if I'm in a position to help you in your particular journey, and if we're a good fit. And then we'll talk about different ways I help my clients. But the first step is to get on the phone with me and get a free call so that we get to know each other. All right. I hope you'll reach out, and I hope this helps. Let me know. Leave it in the comments if this helped clear things up for you about what gaslighting is and what it looks like. And yeah, if any of this resonates with you. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.